Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Khemia. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, it is free on itch.io. And if you want to support them in not particularly making this game because it's on hold, at least at the moment, you know, these things always get posted late for me because, you know, I make them early. Then you can go to their Patreon to support the Echo project. Echo? You know, the people that make this and other projects. So, anyways, actually, I probably should have looked up what was on the last Let's Play. Though I guess I could just right-click here and look at it. Right at that point, we're recovering from, you know, the act of the night before, where we were kind of cuddling with the Jack guy, Neferu, and then somebody tried to assassinate us, and that was the end of them. Blood everywhere, and we had a panic attack because, hey, PTSD. And then we, you know, confided, is that the word? With the jackal guy, and he's like, yeah, I don't particularly like Adastra because things are kind of backwards and all that stuff, and violence. I think that was what he said. And he's like, we feel kind of like a little bit of kindred souls because, you know, here's a word that's in Jackal, which roughly translated into Wolven is old hurts or old pains. I feel that. So, yeah. And then there was the Badger guy, and then we went on their ship to go to Khemia. I have to suppose, I mean, that's the title of the game, so I'd have to assume that since Adastra is the name of the moon of the wolves, then Khemia is the planet of the jackals. That does beg a question. What was it? Could there be life on moons? I mean, maybe there are large planets and stuff like that. I don't know. And when I mean life, I mean like multicellular, you know? Anyways, let's actually read, because that's what this is about. The suddenness of it all, and the odd sensation of being in seeing such a quick movement, yet feeling none of it, makes my stomach turn. Yep, kind of like going in VR chat. Sorry, I got hiccups. My body leans forward, as if wanting to fall out the window, and I force myself upright before the others might notice. Luckily, Amicus and Vetrius are looking out the window as well, seemingly untroubled. My sudden lurch gets the attention of who is behind me, though, and Neferu? I thought it was Neferu. Neferu gently holds on to my elbow. Are you alright? There usually weren't windows on the few transport ships I've been on in the past, but now I can see. Sorry, this is my first video since I've gone back for my work trip, and I'm not going to talk about it. Well, I still have a job, and everything's good on my end, at least physically and stuff. It's almost like when I would go sailing with friends on the ocean, and I would become terribly seasick. Also, my face seems to be a bit too upright. Nope, but let's press home anyways. There we go, more or less. This was all at once, though. Fine. I'm fine. You don't look fine. Big Wolverine sidles up next to Neferu. Sidles? I never heard that word. Up to Neferu, looking at me closely, which is exactly what I'd rather not be happening right now. Then the stars bend in the most queasily way imaginable, and I stumble to the side again. You are most certainly not fine. Is this your first time in the stretch? But yet somehow the human did it well. Maybe he did VR, though. Well, of course he hasn't, Nerf. The hell do you think Neferu is moving me away from the window, but I'm already looking away, horrified. Horrified? Okay. Not by the stretch, but because of the feeling growing inside me. I'm going to vomit in front of everyone. Yeah, I guess that would be an uncomfortable feeling. Not just vomit, but vomiting in front of everyone. Somehow, Amicus and Vettrius have continued on their way, deep in conversation that I vaguely feel I should be listening to. I can't remember if Vettrius is the small, older guy, Wolven, or someone else. But that will have to wait. I'm fine. Just wondering where the lavatory might be. My voice is slightly louder than it should be, though Amicus must be louder, because I can hear him even as Neferu guides me through the ship. Moving rather fast. Of course, Khemia's developed the drive better than the one that the parents lend us. I allow myself to be pushed along until we reach the door that opens automatically, without any panels being touched. This area is the living quarters. I'm not sure where you'll be bunking, but we'll be sharing this toilet. Oh, will? We move toward an even smaller door, one that does require the push of a panel. Considering the journey is about 12 hours, it should be somewhat tolerable, I think. Do you need anti-nausea medication? Too late for that. I do hear that anti-nausea medication is not particularly useful when you start feeling the symptoms, Neferu makes as if to follow me into the lavatory, probably wanting to help me like last time. I'd rather he not see me like this a second time. I'm fine, I'll be right back. I quickly move into the little room, leaving a perturbed Neferu behind as I furiously stab at the panel inside the lavatory until the door slides shut. I stand over the toilet for several seconds, vaguely thinking to myself that it's hardly different from the ones on Dasher before. That's on before what's in my stomach comes out. Sorry. A, I'm not particularly great at reading, and B, I guess I have to warm up. I'm in the lavatory for a little while, maybe about 10 minutes, embarrassed, but also grateful that I managed not to be sick in the corridor, like my stomach wanted me to be. I'm running my paws under the faucet, cleaning myself up, before the stream of water suddenly stops, and an unfamiliar voice rings in my head, making me yelp out loud. Apologies. Paw washing water limit has been reached. Huh. I stand there, staring at my own reflection in the mirror, deciding that it'd rather come from within my head. What I'd heard came from within my head. Oh, because of the translation, I guess? But how? I feel myself start to panic, just slightly before I realize that, like previous tech I encountered with, it must be for my lingua. So I respond, yes. Who is this? I get an immediate response in return. I am Aham, I guess. The state-sponsored AI of Khemia. Oh, yes, I know of you. I've studied, trailed off, remind myself that this is an AI, and it does not care what I've studied, or about anything at all. Well, here's the thing, is it a VI kind of like calm, I guess, or is it like an AI? The difference between, guys in Mass Effect, I guess. You have studied me? The AI asks after a polite pause. This is very odd. Of course it's odd. I'm speaking directly into my lingua. Calm was not able to do that, I don't think. But something else is even more strange about this AI than I'm trying to put my finger on. Yes, I did not expect you to speak through my lingua. It was a bit startling. Apologies, Scipio. I was converted to lingua-only use unless advised otherwise. This is to protect the privacy of all that I am speaking to. Of all? Okay. I felt as if I would remember that bit of information if I came across it in my studies. Implies that Chemians have learned how to access and manipulate the lingua directly. While it is impressive, it also rekindles a feeling of fear. It makes me think that, like, wolves are the backwards guys that are like, hey, we got this alien tech. We have basically no idea how to use it. So we're basically kind of like medieval guys with somewhat alien tech. And Jackal's being like, oh yeah, we understand this stuff and we can, use it and modify it and make it. What else might they be able to do if they can fully access the tiny piece of machinery embedded in my brain? Do you really know the extent of Khemian knowledge and power? Is it really possible to do such things alone without parental help? I mean, not without parental help, but like probably with, building upon your own knowledge and maybe a bit of reverse engineering? As I contemplate this, Aham feels the silence, like a sapient noticing alone the conversation. Are you finished? If not, I can provide you with water-free methods to sanitize yourself. Unfortunately, our water reserves are limited. No, I'm fine. Thank you. It does beg the question, how does Calm be in the palace and also on the ship? Are they two separate entities, or is there like some kind of communicative warp drive? I don't know. You're welcome, Scipio, and it's a pleasure meeting you. You as well. I know that what bothers me about this AI, aside from accessing my neurotech without my consent or knowledge. With Calm, I never felt that he was truly intelligent. I never felt as if he had thoughts or feelings that he communicated. I would say Calm is comparatively stupid, but he's simply a program that consumes information, analyzes, then outputs a sentence based on that information. This Khemian AI is something different, and I wonder how widespread it is on Khemia. Khemia? The eerie feeling persists as I stare into the mirror, for some reason becoming suspicious of even my own reflection, as if it's not mine. I look away and adjust my robes, trying to keep my emotions under control. Now is not the time to become paranoid. As I was taught during my diplomatic training, always be suspicious, but never paranoid. I mean, a little bit of paranoia is okay. A little bit. That only makes you appear to be more suspicious. Okay, fair enough. And I have a feeling that being suspicious of mirrors would be categorized by most as paranoid, if not psychotic. With that in mind, I look into the mirror one last time to assess the state of my facial fur before tapping the panel and stepping out the corridor. Oh. Hello. I jumped, and now I quickly smooth down my robe and gesture that I feel looks inherently suspicious. Hello. I pause, trying to think of something to say, though I come up pathetically short, so I simply say what would be most normal in this situation. Do you need the lavatory? No, just checking to see if you are well. You looked shaken a few moments earlier. As Neferu confirms the reason I thought he might be lingering here, I felt just a small flash of irritation. He's looking after me, which is kind and generous of him, as he has no reason to do so. Wait, is he feeling irritation at him or what? I don't know. Other than gathering intelligence, of course. But it makes me feel childish, and considering that is the opposite of how I want to appear, I would rather he not do it. It's kind of hard to read this, you know, because it's like, let's see, was it Shelter? That's a game that's has some background stuff, but is kind of straightforward. Dawn Chorus, it's a slice of life. That's kind of straightforward as well enough. What's the other one? Major Minor, Winds of Change. I mean, Major Minor, that's kind of here and there and all over the place. Sorry. But, Winds of Change, that has some more contextual stuff that you need to keep an eye on. This stuff just seems to have a lot more stuff that's, you know, you have to be like, okay, who's this person? What's their motives? What could their motives be, etc., you know? Which makes reading and saying out loud two entirely different things. My apologies. Adjust my expression to appear more serious, but also calm. A cool, emotionless look. I'm fine. Thank you, Neferu. Please, do not worry for my well-being. I do not wish to be the reason for you neglecting your duties. The look on Neferu's face is hard to describe. It's certainly not pleasant, and though he doesn't say anything, I'm taken aback, though I do my best to hold my own expression. Another moment of silence passes, and I begin to think over Khemia etiquette, wondering if I violated some sort of social norm. I guess it's that, like, he does not particularly like the, you know, my character's sun bear wall that he just created in front of himself, you know? Especially since they seem to have connected in some way. Let me just take a drink here. Long trip. Actually, let's take a second one, too. Sorry, under professional wolfies. Now it's our time. It's decent. Oops, sorry. Of course, Neferu would be understanding of such things, but considering that we are not on Daster anymore, perhaps he is now less forgiving. Just as I begin to open my mouth to ask what the issue is, Neferu finally speaks. I see. Very well. I shall leave you to attend your own matters, then. Apologize for bruising your woven pride. Ooh. Neferu turns on his heel before briskly walking away. I stand there alone, a low hum of the ship. Its various moving parts, the only sound filling my heavy silence when I try to understand what just happened. Yeah, I would have quickly been like, wait, Neferu, my apologies. I'm, trying, not that, he hurt my pride, but being like, sorry, force of habit to save face. I had acted within diplomatic norms. I mean, really, any interaction among diplomats is normal, as long as only words are used, and you never state your true intentions. Present an aura of Presents an aura of civility, even if your intentions are clearly malicious or even barbaric. This was one of the main issues with Dursus Adastra. Apparently, woven diplomats of an era routinely took swings at other siblings and even amongst themselves when they became angry or offended. Despite this being over 10,000 years in the past, it is a reputation that we still cannot rid ourselves of. I suppose it is not helpful that our experimental attempts at a republic have resulted in brawls within the Senate in just the past year. So wait, have we went from like an emperor kind of thing to like an emperor republic kind of thing? Like a constitutional monarchy or something? I don't doubt that this was shown gleefully across the news channels of the other siblings. While I might admit that woven hubris has been to our downfall throughout history, I still do not take kindly to being looked down upon, like I'm some type of savage. We have our own culture, our own language, our own universities, from which we take bricks and smash the skulls of the elite, who suck the cocks of all those above them, while raping the rest beneath them. And I feel that, despite my admiration for Khemia as a whole, they have their own issues with hubris. Neferu is a clear example of that. I feel like he does kind of see himself a little bit above woven stuff, but truth be told, if I was, a Khemian, it would be a little bit hard to, not be like, oh, these guys are somewhat backwards and stuff. Woven pride. An echoes along my shoulders begin to rise, and I work to contain myself. What an odd and frankly childish thing for him to say. I suppose it was insensitive of me to act in such a manner toward someone who recently called me a friend, but his reaction was oddly intense and irritating. What I then realize is that part of my mission is to gather intelligence from Neferu, and even pursue a more intimate relationship with them. If I was, a main character, I would, approach Neferu at some point and be like, sorry, it is kind of sad to be like in a vulnerable position, but also like in a, you're not feeling well position, and you just kind of go to your basic things of stonewall yourself and try to present yourself as, though that would also be the thing of like you're stonewalling yourself to your friend. Shit, stuff's complicated. Or at least if it appeared to be moving in such a direction. But considering what just happened, not even an hour into a mission, and I'm already failing. I stand there for a while in silence, wavering as if on the edge of a cliff, before gritting my teeth and clenching my paws into fists. No, none of this. Either I will succeed or I will fail, but in both cases, I will continue on and serve the Empire, all for the greater good of Adastra. So, pushing through the guilt and embarrassment and blinking past the blur of moisture in my eyes, I set off aimlessly, unsure of where to go, but just wanting to move. As I'm walking quickly through the corridor, I happen to glance out the windows, having forgotten about the nauseatingly bending light, and I feel my stomach lurch instantly. I'm still feeling motivated by my epiphany of self-determination. I tell myself in a low, stern voice, no. I force myself to continue looking while I walk, demanding my stomach to settle. No matter how insistent I am, however, it doesn't appear that I have gained voluntary control of my mechanisms that dictates nausea in my body. Already irritated by the early failings, I force myself to continue staring, feeling as if I'm pushing myself for being unable to handle this view. It's similar to when I experienced insomnia when I was first away from home at university. I wonder how, if you put somebody in VR and they didn't see them, I don't know, I kind of wonder, you got three factors: seeing yourself going forward, not feeling yourself going forward, but telling yourself going forward. I don't know, because, if you see yourself going forward, but you don't tell yourself to go forward, it could be just like a movie, where you wouldn't feel as much, but if you tell yourself to go forward and see yourself going forward, but you don't feel it, it'd be worse. I don't know. Anyways, sorry, I'm digressing. It was disturbingly satisfying to tell one's own body that it was its own fault for being so tired through the day's classes, and that maybe it should sleep next time. I do the same now, mentally sneering at my own rolling stomach for being so weak that it can't handle. My meandering thoughts are brought to a very sudden and rude end, as I feel my feet catch something on the floor, and my paws flail out for something to grab. Out politely before landing heavily on my side, my paw lands, slapping the smooth, hard floor to keep from falling further. Rubbing at the left side of my hip, look down at my feet in confusion. 3 metallic-looking containers sit in the middle of the corridor, and my foot caught the corner of the one sticking out furthest. Huh? There's a heavy grunt that I recognize immediately, and Brunis sticks his head out from around the open door with a stern squint before looking down and seeing me. Skip, what the hell are you doing? My irritation and self-pity from earlier isn't helped by this new turn of events. I get to my feet roughly, likely flashing Brutus with my undergarments, as don't bother trying to keep myself decent. He is the type to not care anyway. Is leaving your belongings out for others to injure themselves upon a normal comedian custom? Brutus blinks at me, probably due to the fact that he's never seen me in such a state. Huh? I'm moving my stuff in right now. Is it a woven thing not to look where you're going? I'm simply curious as to whether or not I need to be more careful if I want to return to Daster in one piece. What the hell crawled up your ass, Skip? Yeah, I could always do that in better inflection. I barely attempt to do, voice, but I'm not a voice person. I sigh and massage the bridge of my snout with both paws, feeling my stomach lurch again, exacerbated by my falling. I don't know, Brutus. Ahem. Could you get an anemic, please? Certainly. A drone has been dispatched to your location. Speaking of which, I just had to deal with Neferu biting my head off for being too fat. I turned my attention back to Brutus. Speaking of which, what do you mean by that? Of speaking of things up your ass. Ah, shit. Brutus winces. You guys are kind of uptight about that sort of thing, aren't you? I'm more annoyed than that he's pointed out, but as is usual, my moments of frustration and irritation never last long. Already, I can feel it running out of my system. Steam. It's difficult to be mad at Brutus anyways. Wait, it's not Brutus, it's Brunis. Yes, uptight. Speaking of... Anyway, I'm sorry about that I snapped at you. I'm not feeling well. Yeah, looks like you aren't. Brutus watches as I'm suddenly distracted by a smooth, glossy black drone that levitates in front of me, then extends a tiny white wafer. I take it with some confusion. Thanks. Do I need water, or... Goes under the tongue. I try not to visibly blanch at the... That's a new word that I learned, recently. At the idea of letting vile medication sit in my tongue for several minutes. Oh, alright. Anyway, what were you saying about Neferu being upset? Did he... I doubt he would purposely criticize your size. I carefully dropped the square wafer under my tongue, hardly feeling it land before I close my mouth as it dissolves instantly. Brutus shrugs. I don't know. Honestly. I was in the hall bringing stuff in, and he told me to move and not take up the entire space, or something. He scurried off before I could properly yell it back at him. You two fighting, or something? Brutus looks at me, waiting for a response. I point at my mouth to remind him of the medication, while simultaneously glad to have an excuse not to respond. Oh, you can swallow. It's made of some weird nanotech stuff that makes you absorb it in like a few seconds. Though Bruce doesn't sound very sure, he's surely right. While the routine administration might be different from the anti-nausea medication I found at Dastra, the side effects definitely are not. I feel a familiar fatigue sit behind my eyes, one that I associated with boating due to that being the only occasion I took the drug. While I'd rather be more alert, I noticed the nausea instantly gone, and I'm glad of this Khemia nanotech. I've never had, nausea from, fatigue from, what's the stuff that we use called? It's stuff that just kind of tastes like chalk. Don't particularly like it. Didn't take it on this trip, and, felt fine. Nope. A familiar fatigue drug. While I'd rather be more alert, I noticed that nausea is gone nanotech. And I thought I'd expect the taste to be bitter and acrid, but it is instead slightly sweet and almost non-existent. Fascinating. I say that to myself, though Bruce responds with a face of disgust. I'd rather feel sick than take that shit. Makes me want to sleep all day. Pop takes care of the motion sickness, and all my other problems too. The Wolverine looks down at a rather large crates. By the way, you're rooming with me. Already pushed your stuff in. I mean, it's a 12-hour trip. You don't really need a room. I took a look around Brunis to peer inside the small room with 2 beds on either side, one of which already has 2 identical metal crates next to it. Oh, thank you, Brunis. It only makes me feel more guilty, knowing that he hadn't hauled my belongings in first. Sure. Don't know why they dropped all your shit here instead of in the room, though. Yo ahem. It's silent for a moment, and I wonder if Brunis failed to summon the eye, but I remember how it works. Get some more pap. They destroyed my stash in Dastra. Where's my Wolverine weed? Brunis gives me an knowing look. Probably destroyed by the asshole magistrate. I'll bet he's off his ass right now. Maybe. For the sake of Afhotep. I'm confused by the sudden change of tone. Then I realize he responded to something Aham said. I suppose there are downsides to having an AI that you can only hear. That only you can hear. You want me to list everything? Headache, backache, stomachache, heartache. Yeah, great. Thanks. My heart was aching. There was some gorgeous woven women there. Virginia for one. Also, Virginia. I know amicus might be a Roman word. I know that, or I think could. What was the other guy? The smaller white wolf wolf? I don't remember. But Virginia, I think that's an English term-ish. You know, for virgin, you know. Yes, Virginia was named after the Virgin Queen, I think. Turns attention back to me and I looked down at one of the crates. Normally, it would have been levitating slightly off the ground through the use of magnets, though I suppose the floor is not compatible. Here, I'll push these ones inside. It sounds like you're in a great deal of pain. Brunis shrugs. I'll live. You gotta give Aham enough reasons to justify dealing it out. I don't mind you helping, though. I grunt as I slide one of the crates across the floor, wishing that it at least had wheels. Isn't drug usage free and plentiful in Khemia? Brunis makes a snoring sound. That's what they tell you in wolf school? His knowing, condescending tone makes me furrow my brows. Instead of allowing my emotions to take control, like I did after talking with Neferu, I take a deep breath and let the defensive anger flow out of it. Snide remarks about wolves are something I'll hear regularly, so this is a good opportunity to practice separating my emotions and my work. Well, not told, but shown footage of addicted Khemians in the streets of the capital. Typical they'd show propaganda like that. Is it not true? Doesn't matter if it's true. What matters is what they're using it for. I sighed. Interesting. Let me just actually mull on that for a sec. Ooh, we are a bit over time, but let's continue just a little bit more longer. I decided to let the topic go at that point, feeling as if I'd successfully defended a dastard's reputation, at least for now. Brutus gives a much louder grunt as he follows me into the room, pushing the last crate. Anyway, it does seem that you are in a lot of pain. I come to a stop at the foot of what seemed to be Bruce's bed, while the Wolverine follows shortly after. Huh? One sec. He stoops to catch his breath. Phew. If the aches are bad, I just get a script from the palace doctor. I don't know, I feel like that this might be a point where, like, they might talk some more. That's the thing that does kind of bug me about doing these things. Where it's like, I don't know where's a good cutoff point. Because it might cut off now, or it could cut off 30 minutes from now. Don't know. But, yeah, we'll just cut it here. But again, if you want to play this game, it's on the internet for free. You can do it. Try it. So, yeah, please comment, guys. Like them comments so much. You like, dislike, tips, or go-aways. If you like me, tube in, would like to see it grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out the reasons I've grown. Please remember to spend your ammo, so control the pet population if you want to play this game. Again, internet. And until next time, let's say, me, GamerWolfSix of Khemia. Hopefully, I'll feel better to read this next time. Just want to do at least one, because I want to get a bit more into the story, you know? I would want to do more, but not feeling up for more than one today. So anyways, thanks and see ya.